Are you somebody who feels anxious at even the mention of public speaking? Are you somebody who feels afraid or scared whenever the communication skills are mentioned? Then this talk is going to give you the solution for the greatest of nervousness, anxiety, introversion, or lack of confidence that you might be feeling in yourself. Hello everyone, I'm Yash Tiwari. I'm a member of the DLC Health and Wellness Committee Delhi chapter. I'm a global youth mentor, a mental health awareness advocate, having delivered multiple TED Talks and Josh Talks with more than 500,000 views. I guide, mentor, address, and help aspiring speakers, aspiring writers, aspiring individuals just like all of you around the world in many countries. But the one thing that is necessary for any person who might be aspiring about anything in their life, whatever that might be, is confidence. And when we are talking about communication skills in particular, the confidence becomes absolutely essential. Now, don't worry, we are not going to have a generic talk about communication skills today. We are going to mention about this, but the focus is going to be on something rather interesting, something quite different than what is generally talked about. Because even though you might know what communication skills refer to, the question lies in how do you master those skills? Or should I say, how do you become a confident public speaker? Because that is what you are going to get to learn, and should I say, even get to master in this talk today. Now, when we are talking about the communication skills in general, there is so many, I would say, perceptions that surround this particular singular topic. And every single person has their own definition about it as well. But I can tell you in my own personal experience that when we are talking about becoming an effective public speaker, it is not just about a good script that you can cram up in your mind. It is about the confidence with which you verbalize that script. It is not just about preparing well. Rather, it is about delivering it well as well, with the confidence that I can assure you lies here within you. It is the exclusive mantra of the rule of 5C, which I have personally used in improving my communication skills, and I guide and mentor the people around the world with this rule as well. And the exclusive mantra of the rule of 5C of improving your communication skills stand for 5 pointers. In your communication skills as well, there are 5 essential elements: content, clarity, creativity, connectivity, and confidence. And the moment you have mastered these 5 essential elements of your communication skills, a fist is formed. As soon as these 5 C's are combined, a fist is formed. And this fist is so strong, it is so powerful that it can punch down the greatest of barriers of nervousness or anxiety or introversion that you might be feeling surrounding yourself whenever you are trying to communicate with any person. But amongst all these 5 C's, I would say, the one C, which in my personal view is the king of all the other points, is that of confidence. Because content is simply what you are supposed to speak, which you can work upon very easily. Clarity is simply the clarity of every single word which you are supposed to utter. Once again, quite easy to work upon. Thirdly, we have the creativity, which is simply the freshness and uniqueness that you present in your voice. And fourthly, we have the connectivity, which is simply connecting with your audience and creating a link with them whenever you are addressing them or whenever you are interacting them. But when it comes to the point of confidence, the 5th C, this is where things get a little bit tricky. Because most of the people, they have a basic textbook definition of what communication skills refer to. But when it comes to actually developing it in their own self or mastering it in their own self, that requires confidence. Any person can say that confidence is essential. But how is that the case? How do we prove that? How do we substantiate that? That is what we need to understand first of all. But now that we have discussed so much about why it is important, let us finally move on to the most awaited part of today's talk and finally discuss about how to develop that confidence as well. How you can also saturate your public speaking with the confidence that you so dearly require. Firstly, you have to develop a psychological clarity about what you are speaking. Right now, when I'm speaking about the topic of public speaking itself, it is not something that I just learnt about yesterday over the internet and now all of a sudden I'm speaking about it. That is not the case. I have developed a mental clarity about it, a psychological idea, and even an experience in this particular field, which is why I am able to confidently articulate my knowledge and my guidance in front of you all as well. But that happens only when the person who is speaking is well versed with what they are saying as well. So let's say that you have to give a presentation in front of your colleagues in a certain meeting in your office. You should not simply go through the presentation 5 minutes before the event and then assume that you will confidently be able to read it all out. Because that is not what confidence looks like. That is what reading out looks like. If you want to simply read out, that can be fine. That can be done for the sake of it. But if you want to sound confident in front of your audience, then you have to have a mental clarity, an absolute idea, and even an experience, a personal experience in regards to what you are speaking or what you are willing to speak about. Number 2, stop comparing yourself with others. If you want to build up confidence in yourself about whatever you are saying or whenever you are speaking, it is absolutely essential for you to be able to not compare yourself with others whenever you are having a conversation. Now, this is something which many of you might have experienced in your life, but many a times when you are having a group conversation in a social gathering, you are absolutely and entirely and 100% focused not on yourself, or what you are saying, or what you want to say, but on what the other people are saying. You are only and only focused on what the other individuals in the group are saying, how proficient they are, how efficient they are, and in comparison to them, how inefficient you might be sounding like. What happens is that even if that might be the reality in some of the cases, it doesn't do anything apart from diminishing your confidence even further and building up the anxiety and introversion in you much higher. So if you genuinely want to be able to come out of that zone of nervousness and anxiety and be able to articulate your thoughts properly and confidently, you have to also focus on not comparing yourself with others. Rather, if you want to compare yourself with somebody, then that should be your own self, or the previous conversation for that matter, which you might have had. Only and only focus on how you can keep on improving yourself in every single communication, in every single conversation that you are having, because that is only the sure short way of developing a confidence and passion for it as well. Number 3 is the point of the verbal language. Now here I'm not talking specifically about the language in which you are speaking, like English or Hindi or Tamil or Telugu or Kannada or any language at all. You can be speaking in any language and still have an anxiety when it comes to communication. What I am talking about over here, or what I'm trying to mention over here, is the fact about the understandability of the language that you're using. You are not required to, and you are not supposed to, use an excessively complex language just for the sake of it. I can assure you that if you compare 2 speakers in front of an audience, one who is quite unnecessarily using an excessively complex vocabulary just to sound intellectual, and the other who is simply stating the fact in the simplest of words and vocabularies, I can assure you that the latter one is going to sound more memorable and sound more efficient and even understandable to the audience in comparison to the former. Because it is not about appearing intellectual in front of your audience. It is about genuinely striking a chord and resonating with your content and with your way of speaking as well. So always make sure, whether it is a formal presentation that you're giving in front of your boss or colleagues, or it is an informal communication that you're having just with some of your friends, always make sure that you are using a language in which you are using the words that you are comfortable with, that you are confident about and that you have proper knowledge of. Because sometimes, even in that simplicity, the most memorable of speakers are found. The fourth point is about the body language as well. Because it is not just about communicating from your mouth or verbally. It is about communicating from your body as well. Now, throughout this talk, you might have noticed that I kept on doing these hand gestures, right? And this came naturally. Why? Because I'm not just communicating from the mouth. I'm also communicating from the body as well. And this is the case with all the efficient public speakers that you admire or look up to so much. Because they are not just speaking, they are creating an impact. They are creating a visual image of the words that they are uttering. And even in the most generic of conversations that you might be having every now and then with your family members, with your friends, with your teachers, with your colleagues, or whatever the situation might be, you have to have a confident body language during that while as well. Even if it is something as simple as looking into the eyes of the listener whomsoever you are communicating with, or the simple hand gestures like you saw me doing throughout the talk, or even maintaining a good body posture as well throughout your communication. So if the moment when you maintain a good body posture, when you stand straight, when you walk straight, when you do these hand gestures, you physically feel strong, and eventually, automatically, you start feeling your words to be strong, your vocabulary to be strong, your communication to be strong and confident as well. Now, in this list of improving your confidence in regards to your communication skills, the last point, the last but not the least, we have the point of breathing. So why are we talking about breathing over here? The thing is that when you are maintaining a good rhythmic pattern of breath, even when you are communicating, even when you are conversing with somebody, first of all, your pace is automatically maintained. Many a times you might have heard that try to maintain your pace, try to improve your pace. Do not be too fast or too slow whenever you are communicating, right? But that is only maintained when you are breathing properly throughout that communication. And secondly, when you are breathing properly, there is a proper flow in your body. You feel relaxed, and the moment you feel relaxed, all the anxiety, all the nervousness is thrown out of the window, and you automatically start feeling confident in yourself and in your words as well. So breathing becomes essential if you actually want to communicate in a way that sounds relaxed to your audience and that sounds memorable to your audience as well. So in order to be able to speak confidently, do not just try to cram up as many words as you can in a single breath. Try to take your time. Try to speak in an authentic, genuine pace, which is only maintained when you breathe properly, which eventually helps in building up the confidence while speaking as well. Now, when we are talking about communication skills, or when we are talking about building up the confidence in particular, this is something that can hardly be discussed in much detail, or should I say, in all its depth in a single talk. Which is why you can freely reach out to me and connect with me on Yash Tiwari at Yash Tiwari Speaks and on www.yashtiwari.org if you would like to seek more guidance and information about this particular topic and even be able to master your communication skills further. In the end, all I would like to say is that if you want to build up an empire, you do have to lay down the first brick of it for sure. If you want to build up a tall tower, you do have to lay down the first brick of it, most certainly. And just like that, if you want to build up your communication skills or your confidence, you do have to take that first step, most certainly. Absolutely grateful and humbled to be a part of DLC and to be delivering this talk for the platform of DLC, which is all about the overall development of every single individual around the world in all the avenues of life.